The following video contains spoilers. We suggest watching the episodes alone in the dark. For the 6 of you out there who don't get this twist, allow me to explain. Sir Maestro is revealed to be the devil. That's right, Satan himself is actually today's Haunting Hour villain. We are really doing the cliché where rock and roll's ultimate monster is the devil himself.
Wow, the Puritans were right. Music is evil. Just like TV, video games, books, and internet reviewers. Come on, we're actually doing the setting where the devil was behind rock and roll music. This hasn't been a trope since back in the 60s. The Haunting Hour is better than this. What's so scary about affiliating demons with punk rock?
Punk is nothing but death, and crime, and the rage of a beast.
Awesome as I wanna be. First you see me riding on a sonic boom. Got my guitar shredding up a lace too. There is nothing you can do to beat me. I'm so good that you can defeat me. Yeah, I'm awesome. Take caution. Watch out for me. I'm awesome as I wanna be. I'm awesome. Take caution. Watch out for me. I'm awesome as I wanna be.
I know we're getting off topic, but considering how Sir Maestro is the big villain of our story and the ultimate monster Satan, I think he deserves some discussion. Up until this point, Sir Maestro has been a fairly entertaining villain, but now the Haunting Hour is outright stating that this guy is the devil. The devil. The Haunting Hour wants to show us that our big monster, revolving around the dark side of rock and roll, is the master of evil himself. Now I have to admit, I'm a little disappointed that this was the design they went with. I mean, really, Haunting Hour? You have a chance to give a monster based on rock and roll, and this was what you settled on? A British Willy Wonka? You couldn't have had a rock star creature like Lord Raptor, the Music Meister, or heck, even some Scooby-Doo monsters that are more monstrous than this guy. Not to mention the fact that the Haunting Hour kind of already had Satan on the show before. Yeah, remember Headshot? It was a phenomenal episode that followed this exact plot, but was instead about a modeling agency rather than a music band. On that episode, there was a lot of fear coming from the devil character, and it was implied that the human shell we saw on the outside was not really her true form, but a front hiding a grisly, hideous abomination underneath. The female devil was scary and well written. Sadly, Sir Maestro is not scary at all, but he is mostly well written. I'm sad to say that they didn't make him horrifying as he should be, but hey, it's a light-hearted episode, so at least this devil is a fun antagonist.
What? I, Lord Pyron, disagree with you, feline. How could you call this amateur wannabe devil fun when he neglects to even have a cool design?
Wolf, I thought you stopped showing this guy.
Don't blame me, he just won't go away.
Well, Lord Pyron, what's your idea of a fun Satan?
A true demon of pure evil must not only be well written, but must require an epic physical appearance as well. How can mortals truly fear the devil if the Prince of Darkness is not at all threatening? Well, you have to admit that he does have a point. Of course I do. I am Lord Pyron, the greatest warrior of the multiverse. Behold, other superior devils.
What about me? You said I'd make a cool rock star monster too.
Get lost. You're not even the cool Lord Raptor.
Oh.
Now we will be talking about Sir Maestro in greater detail a little more later, but you get the idea. Our biggest problem is that our main antagonist really lacks the fear power compared to other Haunting Hour monsters. But back in the plot, Holden thinks that Sir Maestro is crazy only for the devil to prove his true power by revealing that he's not even there.
Hope Haunting Hour sues Thor Ragnarok for copying that astral projection trick.
Startled by the devil's revelation, Holden backs into the corner as Satan's voice echoes all throughout the room, reminding our kid hero that his soul belongs to him now.
So that's the end, right?
Actually, no. We still have the final act. Holden tries calling his pals Tibbs and Squee to warn them about Satan, but it's too late because his bandmates are already at the music shop.
Now it's the end, right?
Again, no, because we see the kids getting impressed by all the cool instruments, where Satan tells the two kids that he can gladly give them their cool new toys, but he only asks them for one thing in return.
Pumpkins?
No, their souls. A few hours later, Holden arrives at the haunted Guitar Center to save his friends from the rockstar devil. Somebody got paid to write that, folks. After another lame jump scare with the door, he enters the building where he hears ominous pipe organ music coming from down in the basement.
Ooh, creepy organ music. How subtle.
Upon entering the devil's 50 Shades of Grey basement, he sees that it's too late because the devil has already taken the souls of his best friends and is forcing them to play in his underground band forever. As we get a pretty creepy shot of their brain-dead faces being forced to play alongside the devil for his amusement.
We've collected many artistic souls over the years, not just musicians. Anybody who wanted power.
I never wanted power. Just wanted to play the guitar.
Well, you got what you wanted. And you'll be performing for eternity.
Wait. So that was the devil's plan the whole time? He wanted to con these children so he could force them to be in a rock band? This has got to be the worst devil plan ever.
I concur.
I mean, the devil outright tells us that his cursed guitar helped him claim the souls of Jerry Garcia, Jimi Hendrix, and Kurt Cobain, yet he wants to start a hell band with a group of amateur kids? Even if you look past the lighthearted nature of this episode, this makes the devil seem really stupid. He has perfectly good, famous musicians in his pockets, but he wants a bunch of stupid kids instead? Why?
Oh, come on, Wolf. The story is just supposed to be fun. After episodes like The Girl in the Painting, The Funhouse, and My Imaginary Friend, I think the viewers deserve at least one story without a kill-yourself feeling in it.
I know, but are we really supposed to believe that the devil, the freaking devil, wants to form a rock band with children? Glad Satan put aside his hatred of God to start a rock band.
Maybe he just wants to punish the people in hell with bad music.
Really, Kat, could you imagine if other interpretations of the devil had a rock band as their ultimate evil plan on other shows?
Master, I plead to carry out every command you have as your loyal servant. What is thy bidding, my lord?
We must start a rock band.
A rock band?
Yes, we shall form the ultimate rock band together. Then God will finally stop upstaging me at the talent show. Can't stand that guy.
Truly, these writers know what the devil is like.
However, just when all seems lost, Holden convinces the devil to join him in a wager. The two will battle in a music competition where Holden intends to save all their souls by defeating Satan in a grand guitar battle. If Holden wins, he liberates all their souls and they go free. But if the devil wins, then Holden will be his apprentice forever, and travel around the world collecting even more souls for Satan for the rest of his life.
That's stupid. We're really settling all this with a guitar duel against the devil.
Oh, come on, Wolf. It's a light-hearted episode.
That doesn't make it any less ridiculous. And even if we are going to settle this in a music battle, then couldn't we have had a stage transition to a cool battle zone, like a rock stage in hell or something? Are we really going to end the rest of the episode inside this gross music basement with red lights? I mean, come on. If this is the devil, he'd go all out and use his powers to make a hell stadium or a cool lair. You know what this devil lacks?
As you can guess, the devil is unfair, since he takes away Holden's magic guitar, forcing him to play his old normal guitar on hard mode. Then we finally get the epic Guitar Hero battle you've all been waiting for.
Totally tubular.
Radical!
Rock on.
Shredded!
Hellfire.
So after a pretty intense duel, Holden struggles to keep up with the devil's mad skills, and the monster seems to be winning. But just before giving up all hope, Holden reaches out to his best friends where, and I'm not kidding, the power of friendship breaks them out of Satan's mind control. Not even joking, not exaggerating, the power of friendship sets them free. Yeah, we went from the haunting hour to Rainbow Rocks real quickly, didn't we? This brings Tibbs and Squee back to Holden's side during the music battle, thanks to love overcoming the power of Satan. Well, either that or the power of Rock's flow seems to free them.
Guys, come on, don't you remember when we first started playing together? How magical was that, you know? I mean, the energy, it flowed through us. Come on. Don't you remember, Squee? It just flowed through each of us together.
I do remember.
The flow? What's the flow? Is the flow like the Force or something? Is this flow like a mystical force that only bands know about?
Who cares? Because we get even more music montages as Holden's band is finally back together again, and they use the power of friendship to beat Satan in a music battle. The best part? It actually works, as we see that the devil's rock is no problem to overcome, since now our villain struggles to keep up with the children until he accidentally breaks his guitar string.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hendrix side.
Reaganomics.
Then he gets sucked back down to hell? What?
This is the dumbest death ever. Why? Because it doesn't make any sense. Why did he go back to hell? Sure, he lost and should be ashamed of losing to children, but he only agreed to release everyone, not go back from where he came. This could have been easily overlooked if the writers just wrote down that Holden bets him and his friends go free as long as the devil goes back to hell where he belongs. But no, they didn't write that. The devil just goes back to hell after losing, never to be seen again. But who cares about logic when we get an excuse for Tibbs to drop a joke?
the dude gonna do for an encore?
So yeah, that's the climax, everyone. Satan loses, he gets dragged back to hell, the kids win, Holden learns that the music was in his heart all along, and we conclude the story with the kids playing one final song together, finally united, while in a dead man's music shop, ending this musical episode on a happy ending. Honestly, it is pretty shocking when the show ends on a happy note. Pun intended.
Wait a minute. Wasn't there a music competition in this episode? What happened to that? This whole conflict started because of a music competition. Hello?
Oh, who cares? Because the writers sure don't. Okay, that's a bit harsh, but the episode is not about playing music to win, it's about playing to express yourself, and doing it because it's fun. Holden learns that playing music is not about being rich and famous, but instead, he learned that the power of friendship is stronger than anything in the world, as he finally bonds with his friends while they play their victory song together.
Listen, Dave. Now who wants to rock?
What you want is not what you need. And today we both be free. It's not the same. It's not the
And that was the end of Long Live Rock and Roll, everybody. Why, we even get rock music credits just to make this episode even cooler.
Why? What's the point? Kids aren't going to listen to the credits.
Because it's fun. And that's the best way I can describe this episode. Long Live Rock and Roll is a fun, light-hearted adventure. It's not serious, it's not scary, it's not too deep, it's just a simple, fun adventure story.
Not to sound like I'm hating on the episode, but I honestly don't get the appeal of this story. I don't think it's awful, but I also don't see it's the greatest episode ever produced by the series either. To be blunt, I found this story to be very average. It wastes so much time padding up the story with all these overly long music montages, making me feel like I'm watching a music video rather than an awesome Haunting Hour episode. It gets really boring if you aren't somebody who wants to see the show tackle music. Sure, it's good music, but it lacks substance, especially story substance.
Well, to be fair, I think the story wants to be kept simple, because the show often saved its deeper stories for more mature episodes. Long Live Rock and Roll wants to remind the audience that this series does have a fun side. After all, The Haunting Hour does have its fair share of goofy adventures like The Walls and Uncle Howie, so it can be a softer story for now. This episode wanted to be a cool episode featuring rock and roll in it. Nothing serious, but it puts entertainment value above any deeper themes.
I would have been fine with that, except for one thing. The plot is very cliched. This story is a very predictable rock star journey tale. We've seen all these stupid, overdone plot points before. The long contracts that idiots sign without reading, the corrupt manager trying to control the musical artist, putting down the artist by forcing them into signing all their rights over to the big wig manager, forcing rock stars to perform whatever someone else wants, breaking up the friendship, getting the band back together in the last minute, a music battle royale, and of course, a forced moral about how it's about the music and not the benefits of fame. To make this all the more worse, Sir Maestro's joke on making fun of how the music industry is the true evil for taking advantage of young artists makes the episode seem even less original when this very plot imitates the evil music industry story completely step by step.
Oh, come on, Wolf. Are you really surprised that the devil is a hypocrite?
Well, you got me there. But all I'm saying is that this exact plot has been done a million times before, and even The Haunting Hour inserting the devil in it as the stand-in for the evil music producer didn't do much to change that.
Well, as much as I hate to admit it, you have a point. As fun and awesome as this story is, one of this episode's big problems is a very predictable, overused plot. Heck, even the cursed musical instrument plot has been done before on other horror shows, like The Twilight Zone and Tales from the Dark Side. We've both seen these tropes and setups before, but The Haunting Hour assumes that the children under 7 have not. I can kind of overlook a cliched plot on the show, since this series has managed to put their own original spin on predictable stories before, like on Lots of Luck. However, this story about a battle between kids and a musical demon does remind me of another certain story. That's right, this episode is pretty much the Haunting Hour's version of My Little Pony's hit movie Rainbow Rocks, right down to the main villain being a manipulative, all-powerful demon with musical talent and powers of persuasion. One of the biggest differences, though, is that the movie Rainbow Rocks was able to give us a much bigger spectacle, since they have a much bigger budget while the Haunting Hour does not. Aren't you all just so glad that the show wasted a huge chunk of its money on ocean waves of cheese puff aliens? But I bring this up because I do truly think that Long Live Rock and Roll is admired because it truly is the fan base's spiritual equivalent to Rainbow Rocks, a fun, magical adventure with setups that have been seen before.
That still doesn't change the fact that this episode doesn't feel as big as it's made out to be. Aside from a cliched rockstar plot, it also has a very unimpressive villain. I know Sir Maestro is a decent villain from what we got, but I still don't find him interesting. My reasons being that I wanted this guy to be as scary as the devil actually is supposed to be. This guy honestly feels more like a minion of Satan, rather than the head honcho himself. Tell me something, am I really being too harsh for asking The Haunting Hour, one of the greatest horror shows of all time, to give us an impressive devil for the main antagonist? If the series, or any story for that matter, is going to have the devil as the big bad monster, then they absolutely need to go big. It just feels like they cheaped out on us.
The Haunting Hour doesn't have a huge budget as you'd think it deserves, but I have to admit that Wolf is kind of right. This devil doesn't scare me as much as the female devil on Headshot did. I know, this devil is meant to be a fun villain on a lighter and softer episode, but that doesn't excuse his lackluster appearance. Sir Maestro is a very well-written villain, but he is not a well-designed villain. There's never a moment where this guy feels like he's the true master of evil, or even has a more horrifying appearance underneath the surface than he lets on. Cassandra from Headshot was scary because it was strongly implied that her human form hid her true hideous demon form underneath. There was a literal lair of terror behind her friendly appearance on the outside. She felt like a truly nightmarish creature. Sir Maestro is given such a dumb-looking costume that it becomes way too hard to be afraid or even impressed by him. Now I must admit that I do really enjoy the way he's written. I like that Sir Maestro isn't your typical I love killing people psychopath, but rather he's a noble demon who acts reasonable and approachable to his victims. He raises a lot of good points on how the music industry and humanity in general are all a bunch of greedy, selfish jerks whose greed is almost worse than he is. It does make him stand out as a very colorful character with some hidden depths.
I do agree that he was written just fine, but he still feels like the usual corrupt manager taking advantage of his naive musicians. For the devil, that's pretty weak. His whole plan of making a hell band isn't that grand either.
They try to make Sir Maestro seem threatening when the show outright tells us that Jerry Garcia, Jimi Hendrix, and Kurt Cobain are all in hell now thanks to him tricking them with deals for their souls, but that still leaves very little impact considering that most of the show's main audience probably doesn't even know who any of those people are. But again, it's about music references. Like I said, Sir Maestro is a very fun villain if you're into rock and roll, but he deserves a much better design to show his true power.
Too bad he didn't, shapeshift or something when he was losing the guitar battle, since that could have made him cool.
Sadly, Sir Maestro isn't as terrifying as Cassandra, but he is a decent villain since his actor does deliver a very fun performance. Personally, I prefer the Devil in Headshot, but I can see some value in this version of Satan. Bottom line, this episode was written decently, but the spirit of rock and roll deserves a much better physical design. Heck, I probably wouldn't even be so harsh on this villain if he was just a generic rock star ghost rather than the monstrous devil in person. But the episode is what it is.
Sir Maestro was okay as a character, but the kids were very simple. They're all generic children who just needed to learn to cherish friendship over winning. I'm not very into it, but as a standalone episode, it's fine.
But this story is a very over-the-top ride on the power of rock and amateur musicians learning how to enjoy what they do rather than achieving fame and fortune. It has your classic deal with the devil setting, but it helps that the devil is a fun antagonist rather than a disturbed serial killer monster the show usually has. If you want a lighthearted filler episode, then this will give a great performance.
That's the best we can both say about this. Long Live Rock and Roll is a good filler episode. It's not Grandpa's Glasses or Mascot. It wants to be a short, simple filler episode for people to enjoy.
Considering that the episode after this one was The Dead Bodies, I'd say it does a stupendous job acting as a light adventure before returning back to the traditional dark stuff. This is a story about rock and roll and fighting the devil in a guitar battle. Did you expect it to be deep and serious? Long Live Rock and Roll is a beloved classic that I don't really have much negative things to say about other than the standard rockstar plot. Sir Maestro is not scary, he just isn't, but that's okay, since a part of his character is that he wants his victims to come to him. Sure, his methods are weird, but the story is very well tailored, just not the villain's outfit.
Long Live Rock and Roll is so okay, it's average. It's a very average story when compared to other big Haunting Hour stories. It's not awful, but it leaves very little impression when it's over. I honestly have no desire to rewatch this episode again when it's over. It gives me so little to enjoy, but I don't find it on the same level as other bad episodes that disappointed me. I was only hoping that it would be cool enough to live up to the hype surrounding it. Yeah, it's a good episode compared to Season 3's other atrocities, but if you watched it without suffering through one of the bad episodes, it won't seem as sweet as it's built up to be. What I don't like is how simple it is. It's just so average to me. I feel like I'd get the same enjoyment watching a music video of this episode rather than the whole half-hour story.
Yeah, it does feel way too much like a music video rather than a true story. Don't get me wrong, the music is great, but it does drag the episode out and makes the plot less important than it should be. However, I find this episode fairly amusing for giving people fun moments. This episode does have its cliched parts, but it luckily has a lot of awesome moments in it too. Long Live Rock and Roll is the perfect filler episode. It has enough decent lighthearted displays to touch your soul with the magic of music. We give this episode a silver skull. It's got a lot of good music and awesome moments in it, but
it was a very average story. This plot has been done on so many rock star stories before, and to me, the Haunting Hour's take on it is not very different.
However, this is a perfect episode if you just want to have fun and take a break from the Haunting Hour's darker work. While I have seen this death music plot done on other horror shows before, the Haunting Hour's take on it is alright.
And that's all we can really say about this episode. It's alright. It's not deep, scary, or even emotional. It's just an okay supernatural rock star journey. It has predictable moments, but it is still watchable.
Long Live Rock and Roll is a tale as old as time, but it has enough radical moments in it to be an awesome experience for everyone to feel the beat. Thank you all so much for watching our channel for so long. As I said before, we have big plans for the channel's future, mainly other horror shows, animation, and other surprises. We thank you all for enjoying these 50 Haunting Hour videos, so here's to even more coming soon. Thank you, Wolf, for crossing over. Thank you, House, for giving us a good set. Thanks to Big Yellow, Manny, Fear, and all the rest. I can't wait to see you all real soon next time.
Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, or just tune in for more vids posted here on Wolf Entertainment. Are you going to review anime soon, Wolf? We'll talk later.
Keep the music in you, everyone. I'm your host, Catastrophe,
I'm Wolf,
and
we'll
we'll
see you all later.
Thanks for coming over, Wolf.
No problemo. Thanks for the free party food.
Wait, that's it? I didn't even get a joke in the analysis.
Tell you what, House, how about you play us out?
You mean it?
Of course. Show us what you got.
Alright, here it goes.
Yeah, I'm awesome. Take caution. Watch out for me. I'm awesome as I wanna be. I'm awesome. Take caution. Watch out for me. I'm awesome as I wanna be.
Wait, I'm here. So, when are we going to review Grampires? Hello?